broken hearts declare His praise. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? And our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sins of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before Him. Yeah! So open up the gates. So open up the gates. Make way before the King of Kings. The God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Every knee will bow before Him. How many of you believe every knee will bow, every tongue will confess? Amen? Yeah. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? No one. Who can stop? Sing it over the battle. Yeah, that's it. Who can stop the Lord? There is no one. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord? And our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow.
And welcome to Real Talk. It's glad to have you join us on another edition of Real Talk. My name is Tsado. If you have been following this page, you would have noticed that this month we have been treating a particular topic, dignity in labor. This topic has been so interesting. We've had part 1, 2, and this is the third part. Today we are also discussing dignity in labor. Now Proverbs chapter 14 verse 23 says, "In all labor there is profit, but idle talk leads only to poverty." Work is so important to all humans, so much that when you meet someone you are familiar with, after the question, "How is the family?" the next question that follows is, "How is work?" This is because it is expected that everyone should be working. Everyone should have something doing, whether as an employee or as self-employed. Now, people do not see an adult, a dignified person, if he's doing nothing. You are not seen as a dignified person if you are doing nothing. In the first and second parts of this topic discussed under the Transformed Singles and under the Transformed Spouses programs, the speakers have said so much, and it was made clear that one of the characteristics of God is work. He started with work, and he did a major work in his mind first before he said, "Let there be," and there was. So he created us in his image. So man by nature is a worker. And it is after you have worked that you eat. So if you are not working, it means that you are an idle hand or a lazy hand. These were some of the things that we discussed in the first two parts of this topic, dignity in labor. God did not leave us empty. God has put something in each one of us, and it is for us to discover. The reason why we despise what God has embedded in us is because of a lack of knowledge of what He has embedded in us. To discuss this further with me are two persons. They are not idle hands, neither are they lazy hands. They are workers. On my right is Mr. Habila Diko. He works with Leprosy Mission Nigeria. He's an executive in the Christian Association of Nigeria, Niger State chapter. He has some books to his name, and very soon he will be releasing another book titled, "Is Your Brain on Break?" That's a very interesting topic, title, and we look forward to that. He was here last month, and we are glad to have him again on Real Talk. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
On my left is a lover of God. She's fully committed to seeing young persons discover purpose and excel in their chosen paths. She's a writer, a content consultant, and specializes in SEO content for brands. She has also written many life-transforming articles. Through her weekly publication, her weekly articles on social media, she has transformed many lives. She has brought clarity to many. She's passionate about helping millennials rise to the peak of their endeavors through skill acquisition and purpose discovery. She's currently working with a consulting firm as a project support officer and doubles as a content writer and editor for the firm. She's also the CEO of Success of Nene's Kitchen and has trained several successful entrepreneurs. She holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, Anambra State, with masters in view. She is by name Success Nene Eric. You're welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you, ma'am.
You are really, when I say both of you are not idle hands and lazy hands, I was right. This is a lot. Now, we have said so much on labor, dignity in labor, but then we need people to understand the labor we are talking about. People need to get, the context of the labor right, because people are doing hookup and they are calling it labor. People are doing so many other things they call labor, hustle, or they call it hustle. And they're expecting the results they will get from it to be dignifying. Now, so I would like to start with you, what is the actual context of labor that the Bible talks about?
Thank you very much. When we talk about labor, we pick a leaf from the book of Genesis, where God created man, placed him in the garden to tend and to care for the garden. How do you tend? It's work. In fact, with your hands. So he's talking about work. He's talking about work. But let me also add that in this work, because that was talking about farming. Now, apart from farming, there are a lot of there are people now who will tell you they are farmers, but they don't know how to hold a hoe. You understand? Because there are mechanized farming, there are different ways of doing it. You know, work here is doing something that is legal. Because even people who are doing Yahoo, in the morning they are there, wear their suits, they are with their laptop, they are trying to get someone to cheat, someone to, steal from, and or so. They will call it work. You see prostitutes in the evening getting ready to go to work. They are going to work. You understand? And they will say they are using what they have to get what they want. That's not it. Anything you are doing, that work you are doing, that is a sin. It's not the work we are talking about here. It's not the labor we are talking about here. We are talking about you trusting God for a business, for a trade, for a job, and then you are doing it and you are earning something. You are earning incomes. That's the labor we are talking about. Not duping people, not going online to do some dirty things, or using your body and then you are calling it labor. What you cannot do in the presence of Jesus as work, as labor, then it's not labor. If a prostitute cannot, in the presence of Jesus, tell Jesus, Bros J, or Jesus, I make I go work, come back. You understand?
Yeah.
Then that's not work. If you know that thing you are doing, that thing you are calling work, you can't tell if Jesus were here physically. You can't tell him, Jesus, I am going to work. You can't tell him. Then that is not labor. That's not work.
That's not work. What is not bringing glory to God is not work. But then there are some kind of jobs that people look down on. People feel is not, what comes from the job is stipends. They don't see it as professional. There are jobs that have been classified as professional. Some jobs use, you need manual labor. Some is your intellect. So people tend to look down on some of these kind of jobs because they feel it's stipends. It's not a job that wears suit and tie. I'm a graduate. Why is it so? Is it supposed to be like that?
Okay, first of all, I would say it's a wrong mindset because every job or business is a multi-million-dollar job. It depends on your competence, your structure, your ability to scale that business. You can move from producing 1 product per day to producing 10 products per day. So growth is something that is always available depending on your structures, the structures you put in place, depending on your competence level and depending on what you put. We've heard of stories where women by the roadside, they roast corn, and then you've heard that she trained children in universities. So it meant that even though it was not looking like the job that our generation today would appreciate, but it was something that trained her children. So I believe that every job has the ability to scale. Every job, like the first speaker said, he defined what actual labor is, the right thing in exchange of value. So anything you do that is right, that brings value to the table in exchange of whatever stipend that you receive is something worthy of note. So whoever models a business is very important. For instance, you can be a baker and the way you display your work would make people get attracted to your work. Whoever handles a business matters a lot because that anytime people perceive that something is valuable, they tend to gravitate towards that. So if you, as a representative of your work or your business, display it in a manner that makes people look down on it, they will definitely look down on it. Yeah. So every business, every job so long as it's something that you're doing is the correct thing and you bring value to the table in exchange of money, it's a business that can possibly scale. It might not necessarily be giving you the input you want today, but it definitely has the grace, the ability to grow, to scale. So scalability of a business is this ability to move from point 1 to point 2, from point 2 to point 10, just like that. So I do not believe that any job, I do not believe that there is any job that is that doesn't make any sense, or because it's not a white collar job. No, I really feel that it is the structure around your business. You can see someone who probably started by doing a bricklayer's job can move to having boys that work for him, representatives. So your mindset is what really matters. The input, what you put into your business is what really matters. So I don't believe any job is, it's a small business or a small job, yeah.
Your mindset about the particular job and then the structure that you're able to put around it is what will make it as beautiful as you want. Now, where do we draw the line between labor and servitude?
All right, let me just say something a little about what she just said. You know, I went to a restaurant in Mina to eat, and I saw one of the waiters. In fact, I saw him, I was shocked, because I play ball on Saturdays, and this young man, we play ball together. I saw him serving. I said, I was sure that he's the one. I don't want to mention the name, but I was sure he's the one. But I smiled, I called his name. The guy pretended he was not the one, completely. I was shocked. And in my mind, sincerely, I had arranged 1,000 naira that, wow, this is good for this guy doing this. When I'm leaving, I'll just give him this 1,000 naira. The guy formed, he wasn't the one. And I called his name, the guy pretended. Until one of the Saturdays, we went to play ball, and he came. So I called him. I said, no be you I see for, he was just, I said, why did you do that? I said, why did you do that? I said, that's wrong. Eh? Were you stealing? What wrong were you doing with that job, that work you were doing? I said, it's good. It's better for you to be doing that than your friends who are sitting at home on their phones and doing nothing completely. So, you know, it's just to emphasize that it's good. Any work that you find yourself doing, it's good. Some boys will go and be lying to their girlfriends. Somebody said he's into international business, you know, forwarding and clearing. That's what he does. And the girl one day took her young nephew to a barbing salon. And she met this guy there, barbing. And she asked him, and you know, he was forwarding and clearing hair. Well, what was that? You would have just told him, this is what I do.
There's no need being ashamed when you are not stealing, you are not doing anything
not stealing,
wrong.
no, nothing. And there is always a starting point for anything. It's good that you start from somewhere. It's good. So when we talk about servitude, we are talking about forced labor. We are talking about you serving a master. In fact, sometimes against your wish. There are things you don't want to do, but because of what you are getting from that master, you want to remain there, you know, passing through all kind of evil. A young lady came to my house and she was crying. And I asked what the problem is. A young Christian lady, and she told me how her parents took her in this town to a man's house to be a housekeeper. And the man was having carnal knowledge of this girl. Each time he does, he will give her 20,000 naira. The least is 10,000 naira. And then the parents are mounting pressure on her. Bring money, bring money. I had to drag her out of that house. I told her, I said, leave that house. Tell your parents to come and talk to me. You know, it was a very serious matter. Very, very serious matter. Because of what you are getting. And the parents knew because she told them, this is what the man is doing to me. Are you not a young lady? Are you not? So what is it? What is it? And they are Christians. The father, an elder in the church. Because of money, you know, you want to stay. Not only the girls, even brothers too. There are people who walk and see people do evil. Their masters do evil. They send them to do evil. And they continue to do it. Why? Because if I leave this job now, what else should I do? What else would I be able to lay my hands to do? You know, but don't be foolish. Don't be foolish. And don't learn evil from an evil person just because of what you want to get. It's important that you know when to quit. Like it said in Proverbs, let me just check. Proverbs 23, verse 4. Don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit. So if you find yourself in such kind of situation, be wise, number one. Number two, know when to quit. 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 Learn when to quit. Joseph had that opportunity. In Potiphar's house, he would have been there. Do the nonsense and then continue to get what he wants to get. But no, he ran. He fled. So it's important that you know when to run or when to quit when you find yourself in such kind of situations.
So there's a difference between labor and servitude. We have the wisdom to know when to quit.
Yeah, when you are working, you need to keep pushing. Do your work and be faithful in your work. But when it comes to the issue of servitude, please, when you discover and you are sure that this is not more work or labor, this is servitude. This man is just forcing, or woman is just forcing herself or her way or me or so. Please, quit.
Quit. All right. I want to talk about self-esteem. Now, how does your self-esteem get in the way of dignified labor?
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, I'll start by saying that self-esteem is confidence in your self-worth. So, you will definitely be confident about anything that is good. So, if there is something, if you are not confident about something, you have to check why. What is sponsoring that? If you see someone who is afraid, nobody was born afraid. Nobody was born with low self-esteem. Nobody was born with any character defaults. It was learned. The Bible says faith cometh by hearing. Fear cometh by hearing. Low self-esteem cometh by hearing. So there is something you must have fed yourself with that must have built that particular character in you. So so of course self-esteem can get in the way of dignified labor, just like the story he was sharing about the waiter he saw. There was something he thought that should be a definition of labor. For instance, we all have sewage tanks in our houses, and once it gets full, you will never know the importance of those people that carry the waste from your house until it gets full and you look for them. You never know the importance of a vulcanizer by the roadside until you're on the highway and your car needs to get fixed. So every labor is very important. The reason why people do not understand the importance or they don't have confidence or a good self-esteem with what they do is because they've been sold the wrong idea. So for instance, we are in a generation that feels that until probably you're working in an office where you wear corporate to every morning. I've met people like that feel that you have to wake up in the morning, get dressed, and go out to do something. Whereas there are people who are really doing a lot of things, even working from home. There are people who work remotely. There are people who do awesome things. There are people who do, stuff for people. And thank God for the media these days, it has created lots of job opportunities for people. Thank God for the people by the road. Thank God for everything that everyone does. But then your self-esteem can affect your work if you do not have a good self-esteem of yourself. And so one of the things that sponsors a good self-esteem is the result. All right, like I said before, people would always gravitate towards anything they find valuable. So if you find out that you are not confident about what you do, you have to check something. You have to check what you are listening to. You have to check what is causing that. Because I read something somewhere online that said you were comfortable until you met somebody that made you feel that your level is no longer comfortable. All right, everyone. There are different degrees in life. There is the beginner's level, the intermediate, and then the mastery level. So there are definitely different stages in life. You don't expect to be at the beginner's level and start, eyeing somebody who is in another level in their life. So you must understand your times and season. You must understand what you do, the value you bring to the table. For instance, you have to see every labor as a platform to provide help. A woman who is by the road, in fact, someone used to say something that you never know the importance of that woman that fries akara at your junction until the day you feel like eating bread and akara and you go out and you don't see her. So every labor is dignified. Whatever your self-esteem, the knowledge you have about what you do will definitely affect the way you go about your business. And so if you're not confident in what you do, nobody can help you. You have to be your own cheerleader. You have to be your own your go-getter. You have to be there to speak to your baby. You have to be there to to tell yourself that, yes, I'm at this level, but I will not continue to be like this. You've heard stories of people who probably were selling food in a kiosk, and then they moved over to a restaurant. So about 2 restaurants here in Mina, I've heard about their story and how they started. So Rome wasn't built in a day, but every day they were putting blocks together. They were nailing something. They were bringing sand. An empire definitely doesn't get built in a day, but there are steps that you take towards achieving your goals and your purpose.
So self-esteem is important, very, very important in whatever you're doing. As long as you're not doing something wrong, something sinful, try to build your self-esteem on that job. Is there a substitute for work?
I don't think there's a substitute for work. Genesis chapter 2, verse 5. Let me quickly read that. The B part of it says, "For the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no man to till the ground." So the requisite effect of the fact that rain had not come was because there was no man to till the ground. So God created man and placed, just like this first speaker said, and placed him in the Garden of Eden. God created man, and the first thing he did was to give him a purpose. So God cannot leave you in an environment and do not give you what to do. So Psalms 128 verse 2, "When you eat the labor of your hands, you shall be happy and it shall be well with you." So there's a joy and a fulfillment that comes with work. So there is no replacement for work, because God is a God of purpose. The fact that God in the beginning, Genesis chapter 1, God created. Creation has to do with work. So if God our Father is a creator and is a man is a God who understands the value of work and purpose, he will definitely, he created us in his image. He will definitely give us a sense of purpose and attach work to it.
How about grace? Because some people want to hide, under grace.
Now, grace is more like a sponsorship. If I want to get to get a scholarship, for instance, I have to register. There are processes I have to go through before that scholarship comes. Grace is an empowerment to do whatever thing that God has placed in you already. And so you must give the work that is commensurate to the grace that God already provides. So whenever you see a manifestation of God, there are 2 things that are present. We have the God factor and we have the work, the obedience of man. So grace comes to sponsor whatever thing that God has already placed in you. And so there's always the God effect and the obedience of man. So grace is an empowerment.
There is no substitute for work. Or do you think there is any?
There is not. You know, a lot of people will see a pastor, for instance. Let me just bring the idea of the church. You see a pastor doing great, doing wonders. For instance, you see Pastor B.C. Jeremiah. Yeah, you see the ministry she has and how God is helping her with the Transformed Singles and Spouses. Like, I celebrate grace, ma. Celebrate grace. Mama, put your hand for my head. Just put, and then they touch, and then, they are feeling. Go. There are things you need to do. There are things you need to do. Not just, you just see somebody and say, just touch me, touch me, touch me. A lot of people struggle. They just want to touch the garment, the hem of the garment of a lot of people. And they feel by doing that, that's all. And then they have the grace, you have grace. No. You know, during my last book launch in the year 2020, a senior minister in town came to me and he said, he was there. And he saw the crowd, he saw the people, he saw the support. And he came to me and he said he wanted to see me. So I described my office and he came. And he said to me, he said, Habila, I've launched some books. He said, Kai, let me use the word directly. They were just failures. He said, I saw your launch and it was great. How did you do it? Please, I have a book now, currently I want to launch. Please help me. You understand? And I was able to tell him this is there, publicity is there, relationship with people is there, your own. I told him a lot of things that he needed to do. And then take that. I have a friend very close to me who also wrote a book. He just came to my house one evening, told me he has written a book, and then he's going to be launching the book, so date, and then he wants me to be the master of ceremony on that date. I said, okay. He didn't even tell me the topic of the book. He didn't tell me he was writing. He didn't tell me anything, nothing. I said, okay, no problem. On the day of the launching, with his family, the pastor, myself, everybody, we were 11 in number. And then, while we were still waiting for people from 10 a.m. to close to 12 p.m., a woman just arrived and was raking. And the man was, calm down, madam, calm down. After the whole, what is it? That she made 500 pieces of donuts for him, for refreshment. And we were 11 of us there. So it was a big challenge. And the guy now quickly said, madam, just bring the donut. She brought the donut sack. And then he said he was going to pray. And he prayed and blessed the donut. He said, madam, please take it to the market. Go and sell. The woman said, Oga, I know which kind talk with that. See, we had to gather few of us that were there. Just asked her how much. And then we settled the bill for that woman. And we told her, we said, madam, take it. But we've paid. Take it. You understand? So you need to learn. A lot of people do not want to even learn. You just want to just tap. You just want to press one button and then things are working. Especially in this, you want to spiritualize things. You just you finish your university, you've not gone out, you've not applied anywhere, and you heard one testimony of a preacher somewhere that said, I finished my school, I never applied. But, jobs kept coming. There were different jobs, and I never applied. And you hear that, and you grab it, I tap into his grace. And then you too, you go home, and then you are sleeping, you are relaxing, you are trusting God. In the morning, you climb mountain, you claim the city. You finish, you come back home, come and sleep, and you are not doing anything. Hey, it is well.
All right. You wanted to say something? Okay. Scripture says, to every labor, there's profit. But then we see some people who labor. If it's physical strength, they put into it. they labor. They've been on the job for so long, but it seems like there's little or nothing. Not even it seems, we can see that there is little or nothing that they can show for it. What could be responsible for this?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to say that to that question, you cannot give a general answer. Now, this is because life is not just about white and black. You know, between white and black, there are other shades of colors. So if you see someone struggling and they do not have maximum result to show for it, it could be spiritual. It could be a problem of skill set. They do not have the right skill. It could be a problem of relationships. They do not have the right relationship. It could be a problem of structure, of mindsets. They do not have, the right structure. It could be a problem of habits. They could be doing something wrong and they might not necessarily be aware of it. So sometimes not everybody that told you I've tried everything, I've really tried all that is necessary. You see that he was mentioning that someone just comes up and says, I did not apply for a job, but I got jobs. It doesn't mean that your pattern and that person's pattern, is the same thing. There could be other things that you need to do. It's very possible that somebody who you admire so much is progressing. There are work that they do. I mean, it's not everybody comes to show you their scars and their struggle. Other people go the extra mile to achieve what they want to do. So sometimes if you see somebody struggling, for instance, I've seen some business people who are well-meaning. Good intention is not always enough. Good intention will never give you result all the time. And I've seen some business persons who struggle. And sometimes I know that we grow, but then they bring certain things to the marketplace, and then people might patronize you the first time based on relationship. But the second time, they will patronize you based on the value you are able to give. If you're my friend and you're not able to give me a value commensurate to the money I pay, there's every tendency I may not come back to you the next time. So they bring out something that is not really worthy of, of value, and then they expect that everybody just buys it. While there are other people who do not know how to build quality relationship. If you're someone who does any form of labor, relationship is very important. Some persons can go the extra mile to come to you just because, they built that trust with you. So some persons might have the wrong mindset. I've met people, I'm in Mina, and I've heard people say things like, better job no day here, or we don't get clients where they pay like that. But we are still in this same Mina, and people are really making money. So it means that there's something wrong with their mindset. It could be your habits. It could be that you have attitude issues. It could be that when you have customers, you do not know how to treat them well. It could be also spiritual. It might be altars and all of those things. So that's another complex conversation. So a lot of things can be the answer to why some persons don't see results in what they do. So it's very possible that you might be encountering issues. So what I would advise anyone who is struggling is to trace the root cause, find out why. Talk to people, talk to persons who can help you. If you're having a business, I would advise that you look for a coach. If you sense that it is in a spiritual issue, you need counsel, you meet your pastor, you meet your elders and all of that. So I feel that every sickness has a particular drug prescription. So when you're able to dictate, that's why you go for tests. So you test and dictate what is wrong with you, and then you meet, the doctor prescribes something. So when you have issues, you go for prescriptions to be made depending on the problems you are having.
So many things can cause it.
Yeah, sorry, let me, what she said, very, very perfect. Mindset, habits, characters, attitude of people, and of course, village people. Spiritual matters also, because a lot of people, when they are not making it, is spiritual. It's village people. It's somebody somewhere that is actually, causing it. But apart from that, I want to look at three other things. That's what I'm just looking at. I'm just thinking of these three things. Like it's in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. I love this verse so much. I have observed something else under the sun. The fastest runner doesn't always win the race. And the strongest warrior doesn't always win the battle. The wise sometimes go hungry. And the skillful are not necessarily wise. Very skillful, very hardworking, but they are not They are not. They go hungry sometimes. And they are not wealthy sometimes. If not, all bricklayers will be very, very rich, you know. And then those who are educated don't always lead successful lives. It is all decided by two things: time and chance. Time and chance. So sometimes there are opportunities that you have to make money. There are opportunities that will come your way to get what you want. But because you are not wise, because you are not sound, that's why when it comes to work and business especially, the Igbo people are very, very smart, very, very good there. You come there straight to a shop. As you are seated, before you know, they are bringing malt. Okay, take. You have this. He doesn't have it. He will tell you, yes, I have it. He does not have it though. He will tell you, okay, which type you want. Before you know, he's going to another shop. He say, where is it now? You know, it's in the other shop. There's no other shop somewhere. Someone else's shop. He will go, enter, and carry the thing, put some hundreds or some thousands of naira on top, and then he will get what he wants to get. So those are chances are opportunities, you know. And then there is a time, just like Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for everything. You might be working, but the time for you to make it is not yet there. God would have been allowing you to pass through some process first before you get there. You know, so you need to learn a lot of things. You need to learn patience. There are some people who just start a business. You know them today, they are selling recharge card. Before you know, after 2 months, they are no longer doing recharge card. They are going into POS. After a few months again, they are not doing POS again. You see them, they are doing something else. They want it fast. They don't have the patience, you know, to wait and to see. And some people is the issue of pride. The issue of pride. Lacking the fear of God. They start and you are making money. It's not that they are not having the money, but they have raised standard. As this money is coming, the standards they've kept and some other things, both good and bad, they've delved in, take away this money from them. You go, there is no need for you are just a single person, not yet married, no family, you are alone. But you go, you are renting a 3-bedroom flat. 3-bedroom flat is what you are renting. One room is only washing machine. That is occupying one room. When you want to wash, is one full room is washing machine. Eh? And then the other one, nothing. And then, so why do you need that for? And then you are buying one big Sienna so that anywhere you enter, they know that you have arrived. Do you really need these things? You are buying a phone that even a professor will not hold. You gather money, do contribution, the whole contribution for the year. You carry and just go and buy one phone. So that when you are talking sometimes, you are talking and you are displaying your phone. So that people, so you are raising some standards that will not take you anywhere. So you see them walking, but you don't see anything. Because the monies are going somewhere that is not good. Finally, some will agree with this, but I sincerely agree with it. Sometimes God will allow some people stay poor for some time because he does not trust them with riches. Or he cannot trust them with money. Because, you know, he knows us. He knows us. He knows us. He knows you. He knows you. If you get 1 million naira today, you will change all your friends. If you have 10 million naira today, you will deny your mother if she visits your house. You say, no, this one. Mama, don't come again. Don't come. Always I will send. Don't come.
You allow you to grow.
I'm telling you, yes. So he will allow you to get matured. I know of a man who worked and was retired for years and he didn't get his gratuity. The day the gratuity arrived, the next day the man was found dead because he went drinking and he, who knows what happened, and he was found dead. So, you know, God sometimes will just allow you, just pass through the process and be disciplined first before he will now bless you with money. So those are some, just to add to what she had said earlier.
Yes, our mindset, and then the standard, the attitude, a whole lot can be the reason why some people are working but have nothing to show for it. Now, we have said a lot about work. Work gives you a sense of what? Esteem and respect. Work is honorable and dignifying. You become a burden to others when you are not engaged in any work. This is all we can take today on Real Talk. Thank you for staying with us to the end of this program. Be with us next week, Monday, for a prayer session tagged in His presence. Thank you and God bless you.